Next Level Church. Listen, welcome to the neighborhood. This is our super dope podcast experience where we are interviewing amazing people. Guess what? From the neighborhood. That's why it's called the neighborhood. And today I have got a very special guest. This is a person that's in my hood. She's in my hood, or I'm in her hood. She was here first. But she has a very amazing business that she runs. She has a beautiful spirit, and she is just doing some amazing things. So I want to introduce to you, welcome to Samantha Musco.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, of the Beauté bar.
Yep.
On
Right
which
across
address?
175 Roebling, right across the street from the church.
Right across from the church. Praise God. So what do you do at the Beauté bar? Tell us about, who you are and what you do and why you're so awesome.
I'm trying to create a different salon experience than I've ever been in or experienced. I always felt like it was either more high end and a little like stiff or stuck up, or very like too casual where like you didn't actually get the experience that most
Sure.
people want. So we're trying to go somewhere in between where it's like a fun experience, For my girls that come to visit us, we're usually with our guests for like 4 hours. That's like a long time to be in the salon. So we try to make you feel comfortable. We always try to have a really good vibe in there. All of our favorites like coffee and mimosas and everything that you need to keep you going throughout the day, and good vibes, obviously. Um,
Necessary.
yes, it's completely necessary. So that's kind of the ambiance when you walk in there. We specialize in color, so most of our guests are trying to go lighter, or they do like full color corrections.
Hmm.
We do extensions. But yeah, that's pretty much what we do on a day to day.
Awesome. So how long have you been holding it down at the Beauté bar?
It's been 3 years now.
3 years.
Yep, 3 years.
That's awesome. So you just
Went
so you
fast.
just were getting rolling when the world came to a sudden
Oh, yeah, that was rough. So we hit 1 year in February, and then
2 weeks later.
pandemic shut us down in March. So yeah, it's definitely like all the businesses around here had its challenges.
Yeah.
We're happy to still be here, though. Unfortunately, like a lot of our neighbors,
Right.
aren't.
Yeah.
So we are happy to still be here in this neighborhood.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So listen, I wanted to do this interview. First of all, again, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
You are awesome, and I keep an eye out on what's going down in the streets, and I pray for people in our neighborhood all the time, and you definitely are at one of the top of the list. Um, and it's beautiful just to see just small business. As a business owner myself, I know the hustle and the vibe, and just how difficult it can be. And so my hats go off to you for holding it down. So what were some things that you were able to do during the pandemic? Because there's a lot of lessons in this, because number one, how do we adapt? How do we evolve? And then number two, like who did you have to become? Or who did you have to, maybe you already were, but what side of you did you have to kind of lean on to go from 1 year anniversary to, through the most difficult,
3 months, yeah.
yeah,
So we were closed for 3 months. Like most people, I'm sure, like the first few weeks, it was like Netflix and, wasting your
yeah.
time. And also,
This will be over in 2 weeks, he
yeah, you're
said.
like, it's going to almost be done. And then it's like the depression kind of crept in, and it was
Yeah,
like, okay, we're still not doing anything. And now you're kind of bored, and now you can't see your family and your
right.
friends. And then it started to like kind of hit you. And then I figured this is a perfect time to
Yours look now. It's okay.
instead of using it as a time off, I we started renovating the salon, things that I wouldn't normally be able to do when it is open, and I redid the website myself. Not the website we have now. Now somebody professionally did that, but the website that we were still kind of starting out. So I redid the first one on like Wix, which took me a lot of time because I'm not tech savvy, but I had time, so we did that, and then I did classes. So I went back to like the education part of it, learning different techniques. I tried to do everything that I could to kind of keep this like a time where I wasn't going to just fall into the traps of being home and not productive. So that's basically how my pandemic went. And then we got back, we were so busy, and from there it just kind of kept me motivated to do more, for sure.
See, you got to be nimble. That's what we're learning. I have to just be nimble to go
Mhm.
get the extra stuff. So you were learning more. You increase your capacity. You increase your skill set. You were saying that you
Yeah.
during the time off.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that if you don't always I'm always on to the next project, but in
Mm-hmm.
a good way.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do now to better me or to better the brand, to better the salon, to
Mm-hmm.
teach the girls, to be a better leader? Since I didn't really have any leadership skills, I had hairstylist skills. It's not the
Understood.
same as, now running a team and
Yeah.
everybody's looking to you. And I actually, learned a lot during these 3 years. I learned, like, I can't be behind the chair, like, servicing my guests like I used to, the amount of days I did, because
Sure.
my team needs me.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to, like, teach them, and kind of just step away and give them what they need to grow.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And that's kind of like one of Michael Gerber's a great book, The E Myth. And one of the things that he talks about is that you have, not to work in your business, but to work on your business. Of course, everyone uses it as it's a cliche now, but it's so true. And so you kind of have to learn how to do that in order to shift and to kind of move in the next direction. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard because, I love what I do.
Yeah.
So to think like, oh, I can't see, like, my clients as many days a week, but in the on the opposite side, I'm not by myself. I have a
Sure.
salon. So I also, you know, I always listen to podcasts. I love podcasts. So I listen to a lot of salon owners just because I don't know many. So it's
Sure.
nice to hear their input. They've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah.
And they kind of said, like, you have a responsibility as a salon owner, that you have responsibility to grow your team, to lead your team.
Wow.
And I think that I was never really taught that. In, like, the salons I've worked, it was almost like it's a privilege for us to be working there. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's kind of like, in a way, you're the parent and your staff is your kids.
Sure.
And it's like, as a parent, you have an obligation to take care of your
Yeah,
children. And
yeah.
it's really more of that. And I never viewed it like that
Uh-huh.
because of the toxic businesses that I've worked in
Sure.
before, where, you kind of were like, you felt like inferior. And now I'm like, I kind of have a responsibility to them.
Wow.
They're putting their career in my hands, and I can grow it,
Wow.
or I can worry about me and still keep growing me, and the salon would probably fail.
Wow. So you have a more of an empowerment manager perspective versus one who is just give me my money, give me my cut, and make sure you're here on time and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think that it's a hard shift, again, because of the places that I've worked in the past, but I know that we can all grow.
Yeah.
Like, first off, we live in New York. Like,
Yeah.
there is hundreds of thousands of people, like, just in Williamsburg. So it's like, we can definitely, there's enough clientele for everybody.
Sure.
And I try to keep it where we build as a team,
Yeah.
which is more important. So it's like, if somebody needs help doing a color formulation, or with a guest that they don't really feel like they have a good vibe
Mhm.
with, like, we all step in, and it's nice to see that they all do that, but you have to do it as the leader.
It's a culture, you said.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And if you don't actually set that and take the time to do that, which is where I was struggling in the beginning,
Sure.
you are not going to get those results.
Mm.
You'll have your clientele, but the salon will struggle, especially if you have young stylists, which
Sure.
we love the young stylists. They're eager. That's what we want. But they also need direction.
Sure.
So now that's kind of where my focus has been lately, to give them the direction that they need to, like, be the best that they could.
Wow, that's awesome. You dropped some major bombs here. And I want to just kind of key in on this, because one thing that we try to do at our church is not just from a spiritual perspective, but really to help provide leadership and human development, because it's not like you can pray all day and you can, read your Bible all day, which is great. But if you don't grow as a human, then you will be limited in what God can do in your life. I'm a pastor, so I'm gonna have to do this. But one of my favorite verses
Yeah.
in Luke 2:52, Jesus talks about Jesus, how he grew in wisdom, stature, and favor with God and with man. So Jesus grows in wisdom. And so I think we have to do that as human beings. If we're going to be like Jesus, in order to walk in the fullness of everything God has for us, we have to grow in wisdom. We have to grow in our capacity and all that stuff. So it's good to see that you are actually exemplifying this. Like if a person wants to grow their business or grow whatever they're doing or grow their life, make their family better, education or school, then we got to be able to grow in wisdom and take risks. And this is why I said all that. Because you mentioned that I don't want to say taking the risk, but it is a risk to empower people. That's a risk because it makes you vulnerable. And people don't understand that because as leaders, we can be like, oh, why don't you let somebody else do something? But it's like, for us, it's like this, if something go wrong, y'all gonna sleep well at night. The emails come to me, yes. The refunds come to me. So, talk about how you were able to make the mental shift to begin to willingly pour into other people and to your, the people that work with you.
Well, I took a lot of courses for this. I took the Women in Leadership course from Yale because I felt like I needed direction in this. It wasn't as easy as I made it sound. Sure. It wasn't like a smooth transition.
You didn't just wake up the next day and just like, okay.
I wanted to. I wanted to be that person.
Yeah.
But, I'm also a perfectionist.
Sure.
So it's hard to expect that from other people.
Yes.
You can't. That's it. Period. You can't expect that, and you can't expect people to know what you're thinking, or even run your business exactly how you would.
The way you would do it, yeah.
Especially if you're not good at delegating, which I wasn't at the time. I think that most people just expect people to know.
Yeah.
And common sense isn't always common. What one person might think, makes sense, somebody else doesn't. And that's okay. That's the beauty of it, that nobody is the same. So I feel like I've tried to see where the strengths are in my team.
Sure.
And then delegate the work like that, because I have a great team and they are willing to do the work, but they still needed the direction. And when your leader is all over the place, you want to do this and you want to do that, because that's in our spirit.
Sure.
We are usually all over the place.
Absolutely.
Our brains are 100 tabs open
we got
at
vision.
it. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Exactly. But the vision, also needs direction.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes, me especially, I'm starting this project and I want to paint that wall. And then it's oh, we need to redo the menus.
Yeah.
And I'm and I expect them to keep up with that.
Sure.
And they can't. So I from one of my mentors, I actually got this app. It's called Basecamp.
Basecamp.
Yes.
We love Basecamp.
Yes. And it was a game changer for us, because I feel like everything, it's like a file cabinet in an app.
Yeah.
I have our documents. So if the girls have any questions, any education, anything I want them to do, I can give them a task list. And it's that helps so much, because I don't have to it's hard when it's a small business. It's sometimes awkward to be do this and do that and do this. Now it's in Basecamp. So it's the buffer where it's hey, these are the tasks I want you to do for today. And then they can get it done. It's
right.
there. It's also easy for them to remember. It reminds them a notification, a text message.
Sure.
And it's not me saying, don't forget to do this or don't forget to do that. Or if I'm in the middle of a client and it's unprofessional to be hey, I want you to do this, I'll just remember. And later on, I'll write it in Basecamp. Do me a favor, when we're on the floor, don't do this or something like that. And I feel that has definitely helped bridge the gap between me being that leader that was a little all over the place, and being a more efficient leader. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So business is only small in how you operate and how you think. Just because you're small business doesn't mean you're small, but how you think.
Yeah.
How you lead.
I think that the leader, a lot of leaders don't like to put that pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
But there was actually a book that a person was speaking about in one of my podcasts, and it was a Navy SEAL, and they had different teams, and one of the teams was, did you hear this one? So
keep going. I'm looking.
Okay.
I'm thinking. I got a couple Navy SEALs in mind.
He was running this. He had his team, and they kept winning over another team. So they switched the leader to the other team, and that other team started winning.
Wow.
So it wasn't. And at first, the other team was oh, it's because that's a stronger team. It wasn't a stronger team.
Wow.
It was a stronger leader.
Wow.
And that leader could take the weakest team and they won.
Elevate them.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I think that it's a hard like pill for leaders to swallow
Sure.
because they're quick to put the blame, most people are quick to put the blame on somebody else. But I think it takes a lot for you to reflect and be like, I didn't do this right. I could do this better.
Sure.
This could be more efficient.
Wow.
And I think that's where it's almost like innovation. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
don't change the way you think, you are not going to elevate.
Wow. That's good. Man, I hope y'all listening and taking notes because she's dropping some major bombs here in a good way, major keys. Now we're in the neighborhood, so I love it.
Yeah.
So how's Williamsburg been treating you? How have you? Was this your first area that you wanted to be in, or was this kind of like the pick number 2 or 3?
I was first looking in Bushwick just because I like being in the middle of nowhere. I love the
Bushwick
warehouse.
is a desert.
Yep, it's
Feels
like
like.
in the middle of nowhere.
Shout out to Bushwick, we love
yeah, we love Bushwick. But I feel like I wanted
you. What?
to create my own vibe and environment
Sure.
and not be affected by like things around me. I got lucky on this block. I love this block.
Yeah.
So I feel like, but I was looking more in Bushwick. It probably wouldn't have worked out, obviously, as well as it did over here. There is nothing else around.
Yeah.
And it could be a little sketchy at night.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Bushwick.
we love
once
Bushwick,
again.
but it's, it is what it is. So over here is definitely a warmer
Yeah.
environment. We would have been like by ourselves over there.
Yeah. It matches
so-
your aesthetic too. I mean, I think this area definitely goes well with, from what I
Yeah.
feel and discern about just what the Beauté bar is.
Yeah.
Is trying to.
Yeah, I definitely think
represent
that
itself
this is a better location for us. I just love that like factory feel, I
Yeah.
guess, which is why I was like more like, oh, I like Bushwick.
Sure,
But in neighborhood wise, no. Williamsburg is where I kind of always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Good food, obviously.
Everywhere.
And the good people.
Yeah.
But it was the food that really won me over, I
Wow.
think.
I can believe that.
The restaurants. There's like not one bad restaurant here.
That is true.
I am never disappointed.
Really.
Ever.
You know,
Ever.
now the restaurants I try, I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't tell my other guests. I'm limited in my my taste palette.
Okay.
So I'm I'm
So you're a
not.
picky eater.
I'm not a picky eater. I'm just a basic eater.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't like to try other things. Matter of fact, there's a restaurant I tried octopus for the first time.
How did it go?
It was my last time.
Okay. That's definitely an acquired taste. Yeah, I don't know if that's really outside of your comfort zone.
Man,
Yeah, I don't know if I would go that far out. But no, even our block has like great
Block has-
restaurants.
yeah, great restaurants here. That's awesome. So tell us this. So what are you, I'm trying to think what else I don't want to ask you. 3 years in business, doing well. And I want to say this too. And what you were saying about leadership, again, it's so critical that it's a process that you have to learn it and make the investment. And I think when people see success, they don't see the investment. They just
Yeah.
see the beautiful, salon with the amazing environment, that everything is spick and span, and but they don't see the hard work and the labor that you put in. And so I think that people watching, those of you who aspire to do anything, whether it be for your family, having a marriage or raising your children or starting a business or even serving in a nonprofit kind of way or just on your job, don't let the glitz make you ignore the grind and the investment. But it does pay. As you can
does
see,
pay.
it does pay off.
It does. I mean, there are things that you have to take the risk for. And I think that that's in all aspects of life, like you said. And you don't always know if they're going to pay off. But in my experience, my hard work has paid off
Sure.
in this. I'm sure there were times, and I think it's what you let failure be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's
that's
things
good.
that didn't work for me, but I've never really stayed in that place.
Yeah.
I will always, and I never really dwelled on it. If it didn't work, then I moved on to something else. There were times where I might have lost workers, and because we're a small staff, that's like a big impact.
Sure.
But you just try to pick yourself up and, do better. And for us during the pandemic too, which I know a lot of people did, we right after. It would have been more efficient if it was before, but we did Shopify. So now we sell our products online.
Oh, nice.
That was something where it was like, is it worth it? It was so worth it for
Yeah,
us.
the hassle to start is what she's talking
It
about,
was
because
so
getting
worth it.
online and shipping stuff and figuring out how we gonna pay it, how we gonna track stuff, that can be a hassle.
You could learn it. Like it's
Yeah.
something that, and believe me, like I was telling him before, I'm not tech savvy. It's not. Shopify is like the easiest thing to use, and I think that from there we sell all of our brands. One of them being Oribe, which is like very known. It's like in Sephora. It barely sells on my Shopify.
Really?
The other one is Milbon, which is a Japanese company that we love, but many, many people don't know about. That one cannot stay in the
Really?
Shopify. And I would have never, I actually got Shopify because of Oribe. I'm like, if we're going to carry this high end, product, we should be able to sell it online.
Right.
It like never sells. So sometimes too, you have to, it's not always what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I do think that it will work out. And if not, that's okay too. Like, I think that you have to be open to always reevaluating and maybe changing your approach.
Wow, that's good.
Even if Netflix stayed selling,
DVDs.
renting DVDs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Via mail.
They are the perfect example of like innovation. If they didn't change that,
Yeah.
they would probably be like Blockbuster.
Right.
Which, R.I.P. Blockbuster. We
Shout
love
out
you.
to Blockbuster,
But yeah, the best times were with Blockbuster.
That's true.
But they didn't innovate. They left it at what it was, and unfortunately, it didn't grow. Now
Yeah.
now Netflix started as something where it was just renting DVDs, and then it was streaming, and now they're making their own movies.
Creating their own content.
They
Yeah.
kept, changing what they did. They didn't. You can't get fixated on like your initial plan. Maybe. I think that's where sometimes failure comes in.
Wow.
And that was hard for me because I'm a very like one track mind. Once I'm on something, I'm
Yeah.
like, I only see it this way, and I like wanted it to be this way.
Sure.
And now I feel like sometimes that's what could kill you. That's what could kill the business.
Wow.
If you don't change your approach
Yeah.
and you stay with something that's, the ship is going down and
Yeah.
you're going down too. You have to know when to like, okay, we need to change course. Like, this is not working anymore. And I think that if you can do that, you can grow as a person and as a leader.
Wow. Now, this is so true. This is so good. Do you have a podcast?
I don't know.
She needs to. She needs to get out. Yeah, she needs
I'm
to.
trying with the TikTok first.
Well, that is true. Follow her on TikTok. What's your handle?
Oh no, it's embarrassing.
She said not even worth it yet.
It's not worth it yet. No.
Okay. She said come see her after a few more
It's
thousand
just like
views.
me trying to cook and my dog as of now. But maybe one day.
One day we're gonna get her back on the neighborhood, and then
Yes.
we'll get that Instagram handle or that social media handle for sure. But she's dropping some major nuggets, some major keys here, and I want to share this with you because what we're talking about, and here's the key that I've learned, is that it's being able to take information and principles that may not be aligned with exactly what you do. Obviously, I don't know what you don't know. This is not a salon. We're in our church / studio / whatever it needs to be. And but what she's saying are things that I can take and say, how am I doing something? How am I thinking about, the way that I lead, how I empower people? And it's something that you can take whatever you're doing and apply the principles. So you may not be a business owner. You may just be trying to, make your family, your relationship better. Like, listen, if you want your woman to do right, put her on base camp.
No, I don't know if that would work. But you guys could delegate home tasks to each other. That would work.
Next time we out, please, I'm going to text you instead of saying it to you, yelling at it, text it to you. I'm going to sit in base camp. Make sure that you get the right kind of utensils and the condiments and the sauces that I want.
That's not going to go over well.
That's not going to work well in base camp?
I don't know if that would work well.
She said,
Maybe with your kids, though.
You're going to be in the basement. That's
yeah,
what that
yeah, exactly.
That's funny. But I think that the principle that I'm trying to say is that if we take the same idea, like even regarding what you just said previously, charting course, what's the direction? How do we move forward in a relationship? How do we move forward with our families and our marriages? How do we move forward with businesses, even when things are good, so you don't become stale and miss the greater opportunity? And to see that and to think like that, I think will always keep you at an advantage and keep you sharp on your toes.
Exactly. I think even for relationships,
Yeah.
you know, even when you have a good relationship, if you get into the same routine every day,
Oh God.
it becomes boring.
Yeah.
Or maybe not for both, but for one for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a person, I mean, I'm speaking from my experience because that's how I am. Like nothing
Hmm.
could be wrong in my relationship. And I'm like, I'm bored. Like we haven't went out. We haven't done
Yeah.
this. And I think that it's not even we'll have dinner every night, but it's about taking that special time and to focus and to give something more than
Yeah.
what you normally do. Yes,
Absolutely.
we could be together every day, but are you like actually like
Yeah.
participating to like grow the
Yeah.
relationship? And I think in every aspect of your life, it's just about the effort and
That's
you
big
know,
facts.
putting that time in. And it's so hard. I don't know if it's hard for everybody, but it's so hard for me to like stay off the phone.
Hmm.
So now I like purposely like keep it away. Like I test myself. I'm like, no, like my phone can't be involved in
Right.
this. And I think that it just helps. Or even if you're doing something for yourself, like even when I would do like an online course, I'm like browsing on the internet. I think that
You're multitasking.
yes,
Hmm.
but it's not in a good way. And I
Sure.
think that if you focus on what you're doing while you're doing it, like be
Be
present, be where
present.
your
Yeah.
feet are, you
Yeah.
know, and then go on to the next task. I think that you would get a lot more accomplished.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's something that I've been like personally working on because I just feel like this day and age, like we are attached to the phones.
Man, you got
Yeah.
that right. Wow, that's awesome. Samantha Musco, everybody, of the
Thank
Beauté Bar,
you. Thanks for having me.
175 Roebling. This has been
Yep.
great. I'm excited for what's happening in your life and just all that you're doing and just where you're going. Feel like I've known you for a while. It's just a good vibe. And I just, again, you got a special anything for when they come to the beauty bar? If anybody sees the Beauté Bar, excuse me, if
Yes.
anybody sees this, or how can they,
So
get
you can
connected?
follow us on Instagram. We keep you up with the latest and the greatest. So it would be Beauty Bar Brooklyn. So that's BeauteBar Brooklyn. And our Yelp will have our deals of the month. Right now, we have a color special during the week. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So listen, let's patronize or go get your hair cut. I might get some tips. I don't know. My hair. I don't
You
know
look
if you.
good as a blonde.
Blonde. I don't know how. That may scare the people if they see their pastor come in with tips. But I might change or die.
Yeah.
Innovate or be
Exactly.
eliminated. So we might have to do that. But it's been a pleasure. Thank you for
Thank
taking
you
time
for
out of your
having
busy
me.
schedule. For being
I'm
with us
glad
at the
we could make it
neighborhood.
happen.
I'm
Yeah,
so good.
thank you.
So listen, go check her out, family. Listen, you need to get with her, get some of this knowledge. Listen, just go and just check out what she's doing. Support small businesses because that's what it's about. But then do me a favor too, share this, like this. Let's just let everybody know about the Beauté Bar. That's the right way to say
Thank
it.
you. Yes, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things.
She's like, why
Now
is he saying
we're
Beauté Bar?
like,
They probably
no,
thinking
no,
like,
no,
this
it's
guy is
supposed to be.
ghetto.
It's fancy. No, no. We tend to just say beauty bar, but there's no why. So he is right, actually. And yeah, we don't like butte bar. Ugh, that's like the worst one. Yeah, so beauty bar.
Beauty bar / Beauté Bar.
Exactly.
If
you
you
wanna
really
be fancy,
in. Yeah, if you fancy. That's what I was trying to. If you're fancy, it's
throw
Beauté
that
Bar.
little French twist on it.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. So as we would say in France, au revoir. No, but thank you again, Samantha,
Thank
for
you.
being with us. And that's it. We'll holler for the neighborhood. We'll see you next time. And again, like, share, and we'll do it the